Hey, it's Mr. Estrada here, and our learning target says I can translate points in the coordinate plane. And just off the bat, translation in geometry has nothing to do with translating from one language to another language. Okay, it has to do with something else. All right, but first, I want to give you the definition for a transformation. A transformation is a change in the position, shape, or size of a figure. There are four transformations we will discuss in our course: reflection, translation, dilation, and rotation. Yesterday we looked at reflection, and today in this video we're going to look at translation. All right, so we're going to look at translation today. Okay, so let's begin. So a translation is a slide. So a translation is a slide, kind of like the electric slide. Take a look at this picture here. Look at Granny get down right over here. You know, she's doing the electric slide. You know, she's having fun. She's sliding left to right, up and down. And look at this Granny here, you know, taking a look at the other Granny doing the electric slide. You know, she's probably wishing, you know, she could maybe do it as good as her. And look at all the other grannies. What is this? Some kind of granny party going on here? I don't know, but it looks like they're all sliding and they're having fun here doing the electric slide, or something that appears to be the electric slide. And the electric slide is actually an example of a translation, because that's exactly what a translation is. A translation is a slide. It's a transformation that moves a figure vertically and or horizontally. The orientation does not change. We'll talk more about that later in class tomorrow. But you know, for now, it's important for you to understand that a translation is a slide. So let me show you a translation. Well, there's Granny again. That is an example of a translation. But let me show you one in geometry. Right over here, it says in this problem from deltamath.com, translate the figure 5 units left and 2 units up. So here is the original figure in pink, and you could see that there's a slide taking place. Each vertex of the figure is being slid 5 units to the left and 2 units up. So there you have it. Here's an example of a translation. All right, so a translation is a transformation that moves a figure vertically and horizontally. So it's a slide. So over here, for example, our original figure, XYZ, you could see that there's a slide taking place. So let's focus on the X and X prime. So it's being shifted down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 boxes and 2 boxes to the right. And the same happens for each vertex. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 2 units to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 2 units to the right. So that's the translation that's taking place here. Here, the translation, so if you want to denote it, you'll denote it with a capital T, and it's being shifted down 2 units and being shifted, it's being shifted down 5 units, actually, and it's being shifted to the right 2 units. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, yes. All right, so here's an example. Find the coordinates of triangle XYZ with coordinates X, Y, and Z after the transformation T 2, negative 5. So this capital T, as you know, it means translation. So we know we're dealing with a slide here. And this thing here tells you what to do to the X coordinate. And this tells you what to do to the y coordinate. And it's saying subtract 5 from the y coordinate. And this is saying add 2 to the x coordinate because it's a positive number. So here are the original points, x, y, and z. And what you're going to do is you're going to add 2 to every x. And you're going to subtract 5 from every y. So if you perform those operations, you get these coordinates. And that's our final answer. All right, so just, remember, when you are performing a translation, you are either going to add or subtract depending on the given information. Let's try another example. It says, write a rule to describe the translation P to P prime. So for this example, they want to know, how do you go from this point to this point? What is taking place? Well, to go from 1 to -3, you have to do what? You have to subtract. And you have to subtract 4. So subtract 4 from the x coordinate. So I'm going to just write that over here. Subtract 4 from x. And then to go from 2 to 3, you have to add 1. So you have to add 1 to y. So let's write the rule. So you have to write it in the notation, so you need a big capital T. And you're subtracting 4 from the x, so you're going to write -4, comma, and then you're adding 1 to the y, so you just write a positive number here for the y. And that's the answer, that's the rule. Okay, so for our last example, I want to perform a little experiment. And we have a figure here that we're given, and it says, where does the figure slide when you add to the x coordinate? Where does the figure slide when you subtract from the x coordinate? Alright, so I went ahead and I plotted the same exact figure on Geometry Sketchpad just so I could answer this question and perform the experiment. Alright, so if I want to add to the x coordinate on Sketchpad, that has to do with horizontal distance, right? The x-axis is the horizontal axis. So what would happen if I add, let's say, 3, so positive number? Well, when you add to the x coordinate, the figure shifts to the right, as you could see there. What would happen if I subtract 3 from the x coordinate? The figure shifts to the left. So to answer the question, when you add to the x coordinate, the figure slides to the right. When you subtract from the x coordinate, the figure slides to the left. Here's a question I want you to answer. What would happen if we added or subtracted from the y coordinate? Where would the figure slide? I want you to answer this question. I'm not going to answer it here. In order for you to get full credit for this video, you must have an answer to this question tomorrow when I check your homework. Alright, so to conclude, remember, a translation is a slide. To perform a translation, you will either add or subtract depending on the rule. A translation does not affect the size of the figure. I hope this video helps. Take care.